Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is January 7th, 2025, and Barcelona have filed an injunction to get a emergency or temporary precautionary measure to sign Dani, Olmo, and Pau Victor, and it seems that the club are very confident that they will be able to get it. Also, it seems that the censure motion against Joan Laporta is currently on hold as Jordi Farré and Marco Arné did not show up today at the Barcelona offices. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and we'll begin with the news that Barcelona have filed an injunction to get a precautionary or a temporary precautionary measure to register both Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. Now today, Barcelona sent a 50-page dossier to the the Higher Sports Council, which is the highest sports court in the country of Spain. And along with that 50-page dossier was another 60-page exhibit using precedent to prove or to show to the court that the rule being used to prevent the registrations of Dani Olmo and Pau Victor can be interpreted two different ways, and that as such, Barcelona should be given a precautionary measure for Dani Olmo and Pau Victor since they did not interpret the rule well enough and since the rule is vague or not clear enough. Now, the rule I'm talking about is something I mentioned in yesterday's podcast. That's the rule that La Liga have used to bar the registrations of Dani Olmo and Pau Victor, which is a rule that says that a player cannot be registered twice in the same season. So, for example, Olmo and Pau Victor's registration expired on December 31st, and even though Barcelona achieved the 1-to-1 rule on January 3rd, because the registrations of Olmo and Victor had already expired, giving them new registrations would mean that the players were being registered twice in the same season. And per this rule, it's not allowed, and that's why La Liga said no. However, Barcelona are arguing that the rule actually has two interpretations. The other interpretation being that a player that terminates his contract, a player that leaves his current club, cannot be registered twice. So, for example, if Barcelona had sold Olmo, they wouldn't be able to buy him back and register him again in the same season. And that's what the dispute is about, how to interpret the rule, where Barcelona says it can be interpreted both ways. And since the rule is not clear, they want the court to give Barcelona a precautionary measure to register Dani Olmo and Pau Victor. Now, what's the injunction I'm talking about, where this would be a temporary precautionary measure saying pretty much, hey, court, we're going to have to litigate this case. We're going to have to figure out who's right, us or La Liga. But in the meantime, give us an injunction or a temporary precautionary measure to register both Olmo and Pau Victor so they can continue playing while the case is being litigated. And then you can decide who's right or who's not. So if the court decides, oh, La Liga is right, then the registrations of Olmo and Pau Victor are canceled. Or if they decide, hey, Barcelona is right, then the two players are registered. But in the meantime, while the case is being litigated, which will take months, the players can play under an injunction or a temporary precautionary measure, which hopefully would work until the end of the season, because again, a case could take months to be litigated. So here the idea is for the case to be litigated until the end of the season, and by then it doesn't matter who's going to win, Barcelona or La Liga, because by then it would be summer and Barcelona would be able to register both players the regular way and they wouldn't need any precautionary measures. And it seems that Barcelona are very optimistic that they could obtain this precautionary measure. And they're saying, this injunction or temporary precautionary measure. And they're saying that it could arrive as soon as tomorrow. And if that happens, of course, then both players could be available for the semifinal in the Spanish Super Cup. Now, speaking of Dani Olmo and Pau Victor, today, two club members were supposed to file the censure motion against Joan Laporta, but that did not happen. Now, the main guy who said was going to do it today is Jordi Farré, the guy that you see on your screen. He's the guy who filed a censure motion against Bartomeu, which eventually forced Bartomeu to resign. He had stated that today he was going to go to the Barcelona offices and file the censure motion against Joan Laporta. However, he did not show up, even though the press were all waiting for him outside the office of Barcelona. The guy never showed up. He was supposed to show up with another club member named Marco Arne, and it seems that Marco Arne ended up convincing Jordi Farré to put the censure motion on hold because, as you know, there were several opposition groups that they had published a statement against Joan Laporta requesting that he either step aside, or if he didn't want to step aside, to launch a binding confidence vote, which is like an election where the club members would vote whether they still have confidence in Joan Laporta that he could lead or not. And if they say, the majority says yes, they have confidence in him, he stays in power. And if not, he would have to step down. So it looks like Marco Arne convinced Jordi Farré to say, hey, look, let's put this censure motion on hold. Let's see what happens. Let's see if Laporta steps aside. If not, let's see if he does the binding vote of confidence. And then if he doesn't do either, we'll file the censure motion. So for now, the censure motion is on hold, and it's reported that Jordi Farré and Marco Arne will be holding a press conference tomorrow. And of course, I will be covering, or I'll make a video about what comes out of this press conference. So stay tuned to the channel. Now, in my opinion, I think it's still a little bit premature for a motion censure. I think if Dani Olmo does end up leaving, then that would be the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And I say the straw that broke the camel's back because I think that Joan Laporta has been committing a lot of blunders as of late. And I know many people want to pretend like the Dani Olmo and Pau Victor is the only blunder that Joan Laporta has committed, but that's absolutely not the case. There are plenty of blunders that Joan Laporta has done, spending 55 million euros on Ferran Torres when the club was in its worst financial state, spending 30 million euros fixed plus 30 million euros variables on Vitor Roque just for him to come sit on the bench for 4 months and then be loaned out. Spending 60 million euros on Dani Olmo when we knew we couldn't register him. Selling club's assets at half price, putting the club's future at risk in order to register Dani Olmo, which we knew we couldn't register before we signed him. Paying 50 million euros on Darren Dane's commission to close the Nike deal. Allowing Xabi to stay after Xabi had to resign, only to sack him 3 or 4 weeks later. Telling us the stadium was going to be ready in November of last year, then telling us February of this year. Then now it looks like it's not going to be till November of this year. And supposedly Barcelona have a clause in their contract with the construction company, Limac, that Limac would have to pay Barcelona €1 million a day for every day of delay. And Barcelona now are saying, oh, we're not going to enforce that because we don't want to ruin our relationship with the Turkish company. Well, why wouldn't you? We're talking about a 1-year delay here, not a few weeks, not 2 or 3 months. We're talking about a full year. Why wouldn't you punish them? That's a serious breach of contract. They need to be held responsible. Otherwise, why include that clause in the contract? Also, and this is the big point that a lot of people have not thought about, if Barcelona is such a dire financial situation where we have to sell our club assets to register a player, why not just charge Limac the late fee? It's 1 million euros per day. They're going to be a per day late. They're going to be a whole year late. That's 365 million euros. That's way more enough than to reach the 1-1, to register Pau Victor, to register Dani Olmo, and even make a huge signing like Victor Gyökeres, Rafael Leao, Kvaratskhelia, you name it. Why wouldn't you want to activate that clause? That tells me that clause probably does not exist. So probably Laporta lied about it, or maybe it does exist, and in the case it does exist, again, why not activate it? Why prefer to sell clubs' assets for half the price when you have the solution right there in a contract written and signed by both parties? Then there's the whole Nike deal telling us it's going to be signed in May, in July, in August, September, October, then telling us we're going to get the 150 million euro signing bonus up front, only to find out that no, Nike actually had agreed to pay the signing bonus prorated over 10 years. So it turns out it wasn't La Liga's fault why we didn't achieve the 1-1 rule. It was the fact that Barcelona first told La Liga, hey, we're getting 150 million euro signing bonus all up front. And La Liga said, okay, that's enough to reach the 1-1. And then Barcelona was like, never mind, we're getting 50 million this year, every year for the next 10 years. And La Liga was like, okay, yeah, that's not enough. So it wasn't La Liga's fault. It was the fact that, again, Barcelona gave La Liga the wrong information. Now, we don't know why the 150 million ended up getting paid over 10 years instead of all at once. We don't know if Nike changed their mind, or if we don't know if Nike simply mentioned 150 and Laporta ran with it to La Liga, and then Nike was like, hold on a minute, you are getting 150, just not all at once. You're getting it over 10 years. We don't know because, again, this board of directors doesn't tell us anything. Even during the General Assembly, when Barcelona approved the Nike deal, all Joan Laporta told us was, hey guys, we have signed the best sports contract in the history of football. Okay, why is it the best? Because the figures are amazing. Okay, what are the figures? Oh, I can't tell you. It's confidential. So what are we supposed to do? Just trust you blindly? So now you'll see it's been a blunder after blunder after blunder after blunder. And yes, Joan Laporta has done a lot of great things. But as I've said before, it's a scale. It's how much good he has done versus how much bad, because there is no perfect president. There's not going to be a president that's going to come here and do, and everything he does will be amazing. Some things will be bad. Some mistakes will be made. So it's all about, balancing the good versus the bad. And at this point, Laporta's bad things are catching up to all the good things that he's done. Not enough for me right now for a censure motion, but definitely very close. And if Dani Olmo ends up leaving, for me, that would be the straw that broke the camel's back. But anyways, that is my opinion. I want to hear what you guys think. Do you think Joan Laporta should face a censure motion? Yes, no, let me know down below in the comment section. Now, I will be uploading more videos, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Visca Barça.